Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak. And I want to say Shalom to Aknakwath out there, pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And this one's just like a little quick hit. I have one of these videos. It'll probably be I might do a half and half, right? This one might be a little bit like 10-15, and then I have another one that I'm going to do, Lord willing. That's another 10-15. And the one I want to talk about right now is the one we see with this so-called black guy down here on the bottom, which I believe to be a tear, because it's just, you know, when something is, it crosses over into the uncanny, right? Uncanny. They call it the uncanny valley, but you can see uncanny describes something that is strangely familiar, yet unsettling, mysterious, or supernatural. Okay. Uncanny resemblance, or an eerie feeling in a lifelike robot. Uncanny valley, right? Uncanny valley, where it looks right, but it almost don't look right, right? Something's just not quite right about it. Now, this would be considered like uncanny valley. There's just something that's just not quite right. Okay, there's just something that's not quite right. It has all the features there, but there's something that's not quite right. And, you know, you get the uncanny valley with this guy down here because, you know, you see a so-called black man kinda, but kinda not, right? He looks just different, right? And then on top of that, the way he talks, man, is just it's not right. Now someone here says he got to be AI, but this guy ain't AI. It says, nah fam, he been making these videos for years like this. It says, nah, he for real. And this guy says, I was in the military with him, gang, no bullshit. Now that could be bullshit, but this guy just, something's not quite right about him, and I'll show you. Now I believe this guy to be a tear. Okay, this guy in this video here, not the guy that responds, but I believe this guy to be a tear. Because everything's just deeply uncanny and unsettling. All right, it's like you're looking at, you know, who you would think almost is like a black guy, but doesn't talk like a black guy. But it's just an uncanny situation. All right. Again, let's go. What does it mean if something is uncanny? Okay, uncanny. It says unsettling. It's not just strange, but uncomfortably strange, making the hair stand up on your neck. Not always. Remarkably beyond normal. You can describe abilities or situations so perfect they seem, and you know that's not what it's really talking about. But you know, it's more into the uncanny valley. It says first the eerie feeling when something looks almost human but not quite. This would be when someone looks like a Jake but they're not a Jake. Okay, when someone looks like a Jake but they're not a Jake, because it ain't about skin color. You can have, you know, so-called white folk, all right, that you know, look like Edomites that aren't Edomites. Okay, you can have so-called black folk that look like black folk that aren't Israelites. Okay, so just so on and so forth. So let's get it. All right, let me bear with me 1 minute. All right, Slakia. I forgot to close out of Steam, so I had to go and change the notification settings, or you're just gonna see people playing games all damn day. But so yeah, Darius DK is who posts this video, so let's go ahead and play it. All right.
From one nigga to another, tomorrow ain't promised, so swing on them niggas today.
That was racist. That was racist. Like, yeah, it had to be.
From one nigga to another, tomorrow ain't promised, so swing on them niggas today.
That was racist. That was racist. Like, yeah, it had to be.
From one nigga to another.
Again, I want to see. I don't know necessarily who the guy is. I was gonna let it replay so I could see on the side if it says someone, but I don't know who it's from. But says let's not forget he was exposed as a. You see it last year for exposing himself to an underage girl at the gym. He's a chomo that got exposed to Planet Fitness in 2022, I think. The ninja has the Super Smash cut. He's making gamers look bad again. Let's see. Well, what's his name? Did he just learn the word? Someone said, he's the black friend they're referring to when they say I have a black friend. I see my, I like this one. It says, I see my people, but I don't hear my people. That's because he's not your people. This guy is more than likely an Edomite. Okay, a tear. I'd like to find out who this guy is. It says I had been blocked that dude. Who is this guy? Says he looked like the real life unfinished created character. Somebody just picked all the default shit and quick saved. I agree. All my friends are white. Absolutely. Let's see. How do you look him up? All right. How? Let's see. I'm trying to find out who this guy is so we can see some more of his content, but it's, you know, again, this person says I see my people, I don't hear my people. I was going to say I don't feel comfortable with him saying that. Why do you think that is, Jake? Why do you think that is? Right? This is because you don't understand, you know, what situation we're in. Right? You don't understand about tears. Okay? And we just, you know, this is more like just a I don't know if you would call it like a little rant video or whatever. But because we did the 7 essentials and already talked about tears. Okay, this is more like a refresher and just bringing this to attention, because this is ridiculous. Jake really don't know out in the world. They really have no idea that why. Oh, it sounds like my people. It says look my or I see my people, but I don't hear my people. Well, why is that? Okay, why is that? Okay, and this is why you can't just go off of looking at someone, right? 1 Samuel 16:7, because you look and say, oh, he's black, but you don't really, it ain't bad. Who's from the bloodline of black, or from the bloodline of white, or from the bloodline of brown or yellow? Ain't nobody coming from a bloodline of color, all right? You come from a bloodline of a nation, okay? And the nation just happens to have their skin color be that way, right? But not all of them will. There's Jake that's darker, there's Jake that's lighter, all right? So there's Jake that's damn near yellow, as they say, right? So you can't just go off of skin color, man. There's gonna be black folk out there that are really Edomites, okay, and not Israelites, not Jake, all right, not the chosen of the Lord, okay. And then there's gonna be, you know, white-looking people, all right, that, you know, look like an Edomite, but are actually, you know, Israelites, okay. There's a couple. I happen to be one of them. There's a brother down, I believe, the Phoenix camp. All right, there's a brother. I think he's in somewhere out in. I can't remember where he's from. I know he alleged has Turkish descent, because I remember the video. I think he was out there in one of the either like Amsterdam or like UK. One of those. I get a lot of the brothers confused outside of the US. So Slovakia. But you know, there was that brother. There, you know, there's plenty. All right, we're not as common, all right, but we do exist, right? Because you got to realize, if you can come into this truth and you look like a so-called white person or a so-called Asian, all right, then you can't be an Edomite or a Moabite or Ammonite, all right? You just can't be. It just doesn't work that way, okay? Because the Lord would never give his truth unto a heathen. So you'd have to be what we call, as in the scripture it says, a speckled bird. Excuse me, Salakia. A speckled bird. Okay?
Ain't promised. So swing.
A speckled bird. Bear with me while I grab this drink. So right here, Jeremiah 12:9, it says, my heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. So, if your heritage is like unto a speckled bird, what color is a speckled bird? Okay, many different colors and varieties and flavors, right? This bird's great because you see all these different colors. You see the purple, you see the white, you see the red, the maroon, all right, the cream, you see the dark green, the emerald green, the lime green. You see this like nice little like navy blue. All right, you got more like a turquoise color down here, shifting into another emerald color down at the bottom of the base of this wing. You got a nice bright violet down here. You have more of like a, what would you consider that, like pumpernickel, all right? No, not really. I mean, kinda like like that's more of a maroonish color, I guess. Not quite. It's like a rosy maroon. But yeah, man, you see it. So, and you got this one. This has got, you know, all these different shades of. It's got, you know, like blackish, dark, like midnight purple. All right. Of course, it's got the yellowish beige taupe. All right. It's got the coffee colors down in here, going back down into a darker gray. All right. So, you know, a speckled bird is in the title. It's speckled. It has very many colors. Okay, you can see this one, you know, they're all different colors. Look at all these different speckled birds. They all have a different, you know, color about them. All right, this one's nice. All right, because look, you see the red around the eye, right? You see the charcoalish white pastyish gray with some orange auburn colors mixed in with some ruddiness. That's really like a ruddiness right there, and you can see it. So Jake comes in all shapes, sizes, and color. All right, now originally, are we a melanated people? Absolutely, and most of our people are still melanated, but you got to realize that we were scattered abroad during the diaspora, and when we were among these nations, we got down with these other nations. Okay, so and we know that the bloodline comes through the father, so if the father gets down with an Asian woman and has a child, and now this child looks a little bit more Asian, now he's growing up in one of the Asian countries, and he's an Israelite, but he looks a little bit more Chinese, and then he gets down with another Asian woman, now their baby's just going to look like they're full Chinese. It only takes about a generation, 2 generations really, to completely change your skin color, all right? It's just like when you have coffee, yeah, it's black, all right, but keep adding creamer, and what happens? Now, isn't it still coffee at the end of the day, right? So it goes by your father, not through your mother. So you can have a bunch of heathen mothers down through your you know, through your father's seed line. They kept getting with, you know, heathen women, and now you look like an Asian, or you look like a so-called white person, or you look like an Arabic person, right? So, and that happens with everybody. I mean, there might be, you know, a lot of the so-called black folk that you see out there, you see that they have these squinty, you know, chinky eyes, as they say. That is an offensive term, right? Chinky eyes. And where do you think that comes from, all right? It's not just, well, it's primarily a lot of the ones that have the chinky eyes, it's because of, Native American ancestry, all right, because a lot of black folk have Native American ancestry. Now, that doesn't mean they're always Gad. Gad is the tribe of Israel that would be considered the so-called Native Americans today, all right? But some of those people that have that native in them, all right, are also, or Indian, however you want to call it. I used to be against the term Indian until I learned that it literally means people of God, all right? And that's what the original term was. It wasn't that they just said Indians because they thought they were, you know, East Indians or whatever. No, they didn't. That wasn't it. So, but yeah, man, you know, you just gotta, you know, it's because they have that Indian ancestry, whether it be on the father or the mother side, and you know they got that those chinky eyes. Now, why is that? Because a lot of Native Americans were getting with the Native American men were getting with the Moabite women. So of course they're gonna have those chinky eye features that came about, right? Even though they're Israelites. Okay, you can go back and look at the Native Americans. They have those chinky eyes, right? So there you go. But yeah, man. So you know, I have a bit of it's more on my mom's side, all right, of Native American, Shoshone, or Shoshone Indian, however you want to pronounce it. And I got the chinky eyes, right? Just a little bit. So if you see Jake out there with chinky eyes, that's probably because they got a little bit of Native American ancestry in them. Doesn't always mean that they're Native American. They could have it on their father or mother's side, but they're still going to have those features is what I'm getting at. You're going to have those features, right? So it's not about how you look. It's about who you are, right? Going into Jeremiah, you're going and dealing with not Jeremiah, Samuel, excuse me. 1 Samuel 16:7 again. But the Lord said unto Samuel, I can't remember if I got it. Slakia. But it says, it's like you. 1 Samuel 16:7, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance. All right, what is countenance? Okay, what is that? Okay, a person's face or facial expression, right? Or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So the Lord's looking at the inside, all right? The Lord's, you know, we as men, we judge. You know, if someone looks like, you know, they got a crazy scar over their face, we say, oh, damn, that's the first thing we notice. We don't notice, you know, their personality or how they are or who they are. We notice how they look like, all right? How they look like. Now I've came up with it's not. Now I've just noticed a lot of these guys that are tears. They have what I've deemed as tear face. They just like, and mostly I think it's in the eyes. I think it's in the eyes. Let me cover up the eyes. I think it is mostly just the eyes. I call it tear face, but like, you know, they say the eyes are the windows of the soul. There's just something not right, you know. And now it's not something about their appearance. Don't get it twisted. But it seems like there's something that, like, their physical appearance has something there. I don't know if it's not literally, it's just more spiritual, and we can see it because we're looking at it through a spiritual lens, or what it is. I don't know if you brothers have noticed that as well. You see these guys, and you can't instantly judge when you open their mouth. They open their mouth and you see them. And you're like, there's something about the eyes. I don't know what it is. They don't look like Jake people. All right, they look. I don't know. They just look off. You know, something's like I said, uncanny. There's just something not quite right there. Okay? This person right here says, it didn't feel right in my spirit. Okay? So there you go. It didn't feel right in my spirit. And it's because Jake don't understand that, it says, this person said, take away his N-word pass, please. So, says, this guy said, Ninja looked like an alien. It's true. He don't, you know, it says he looks like Muhammad Ali in Knockout Kings 2000 for PlayStation. Goddamn, yeah, he do. That's crazy. That's like the craziest pull ever. What do you say, 2000 or 2001? 2000. He really do though. Here. He really do though. He really do look like him on the PlayStation 1. God damn. That's crazy. That's crazy. But anyway. That's hilarious. But yeah, man. So yeah, they just don't get it. So let's get Hosea 4 and 6. It reads, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. So, you know, you're destroyed for lack of knowledge. You don't understand what's going on, Jake. You don't know who's who. You don't know who the Lord is. You know, you don't understand anything, right? And you've rejected knowledge too. You don't want to get it. You don't want to receive it. It's too much for you, right? You don't want it. So Jeremiah 4 and 22, it says, for my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. So, you know, Jake, they're foolish, and they don't know the Lord, and because they don't know the Lord, they don't know, you know, the Lord's teachings. They don't understand anything about the Bible, right? And that's just how it is. Jake is wise in wickedness, as it mentions, you know, wise to do evil, as it says, but to do good, they have no knowledge. They can't do anything good, but they'll tell you 1,000,001 ways to cut up some dope to make a profit, right? That's just how our people are. We're just foolish. Sottish, as it says. Foolish, sottish. Sottish is that resembling a sot. A sot's a drunken person, okay? So, horrible. So, Jeremiah 25 and 4. This is, you know, the Lord has sent you the prophets. All right, the brothers on the highways and byways, the brothers making videos, but you don't listen, right? You don't want to listen. So Jeremiah 25 and 4, it says, and the Lord has sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them, but ye have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear. You didn't want to hear it. All right, you didn't want to hear it. You really took your two fingers and stuck them in your ear holes and went, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, right? That's what you've done, right? So when you're begging for mercy in the Lord, he's going to stick his fingers in his ears and go, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. Not literally, but you know what I mean. He's you know, you turned your back on him, so he's going to turn away from you, all right? He doesn't owe you anything, all right, other than a swift destruction because of how wicked you've been, all right? That's the only thing you're owed, Jake. So that's why, all right, when you see people like this that they just aren't quite right, and they talk like this, and you hear you see your people but you don't hear your people, that's because they're more likely not your people. They're probably a tear. This guy what's the word, comes off as a tear, all right? So, you know, that's just the way it is, man. So that's where I'm gonna close out. How long this lesson ended up going? about 20 minutes. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to close out. All right. Lord, what was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak. I want to say shalom to your brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Till next one, Lord willing. Shalom.